Vanessa Paradis has always occupied a strange place in the French imagination. She arrived young, without armor, without spectacle, and somehow stayed. Her presence never relied on excess. She did not conquer space, she inhabited it quietly. While others learned to perform themselves, she learned restraint. Fame wrapped around her early, but she never wore it loudly. People mistook her calm for distance, her reserve for mystery, yet those who watched closely sensed something else. A woman who survived by choosing silence as a form of dignity. She never fed the machine that demanded reactions, confessions, or drama. Instead, she offered stillness. That stillness became her signature. Over time, it hardened into strength, but also into solitude. Beauty followed her, but never defined her. Talent accompanied her, but never explained her. What defined her was the way she remained intact in an industry that thrives on erosion. Until one day, she allowed herself to speak, not to explain the past, but to reclaim herself. Fame without noise. Unlike many icons shaped by controversy, Vanessa's rise was almost accidental. She did not arrive with a manifesto or a need to dominate. She simply appeared and people noticed. Her voice, fragile yet grounded, felt human in a world obsessed with perfection. Her face carried contradictions, softness and distance, innocence and gravity. The public projected onto her whatever they needed. The press tried to label her, but she resisted definition by doing nothing at all. She didn't correct narratives. She didn't embellish them either. Silence became her boundary. It protected her from intrusion, but it also isolated her. Over the years, that isolation turned into a kind of inner room where she learned to survive alone. Success followed, but she never chased it. Instead, she built a career that moved slowly, deliberately, refusing urgency. That refusal made her fascinating. Yet behind the controlled exterior, there lived a woman who learned early that being quiet was safer than being exposed, even if it meant carrying everything inside. A meeting without drama. When she crossed paths with Johnny Depp, it did not resemble a cinematic beginning. No spectacle, no mythology. Just two people in the same place at the same moment, each carrying their own fatigue. Their connection grew quietly, without performance. What drew them together was not glamour, but recognition. There was something familiar in each other's silence. For Vanessa, it felt like encountering someone who did not demand explanation. For Johnny, it seemed like encountering calm. Their bond was not built on grand declarations, but on shared pauses. They did not rush intimacy, it unfolded naturally. In a world that constantly asked for more, their relationship felt like less, and that was its appeal. They created a space that felt removed from noise, where neither had to play a role. That simplicity became sacred. It wasn't about rescue or destiny. It was about two people believing, quietly, that peace could exist between them if they protected it enough. Building a life away from the spotlight. Together, they chose distance from spectacle. France offered anonymity, or at least the illusion of it. They built a family life that prioritized privacy over narrative. For a time, that choice worked. Their home became a refuge from expectations. Parenthood grounded them, routine softened edges. Vanessa continued working selectively, while Johnny moved between demanding projects. From the outside, they appeared balanced, even enviable. But balance can be deceptive. What looked like harmony was also a careful arrangement of silences. Vanessa had always known how to disappear into calm, how to smooth rough edges without naming them. That skill served the relationship until it didn't. Loving someone who struggles internally often means adapting constantly. She adapted without complaint. She believed stability could be offered quietly. Yet over time, that quiet effort became invisible. Not because it lacked value, but because it was never named. And what is never named eventually fades from view, even to those closest. Years of chosen discretion. After the separation, Vanessa returned to what she knew best: discretion. She did not narrate her pain publicly. She did not correct assumptions. She allowed time to do what explanations never could. Her life continued: work, motherhood, creativity, but on her terms. Silence once again became a boundary, but this time a conscious one. She was no longer protecting someone else's story. She was protecting her own healing. Over the years, the public moved on, speculated, forgot. She did not rush to be understood. Understanding herself mattered more. That choice cost her visibility, but it gave her peace. Silence can be a refuge when it is chosen freely. The difference was intention. She was no longer erasing herself for love. She was resting. And in that rest, something slowly returned. Her voice, not as a performance, but as a quiet certainty that she existed fully, even without being seen. Speaking without accusing. When she finally spoke, it was not to reveal secrets. It was to name an experience many recognize but rarely articulate. She did not accuse. She reflected. Her words carried no bitterness, only clarity. She spoke of loneliness, not wrongdoing, of absence, not betrayal. That distinction mattered. By refusing to dramatize the past, she reclaimed authority over it. She acknowledged her own role, not with guilt, but with honesty. Loving deeply does not require self-erasure. She admitted that she had stayed silent too long, believing it was kindness. In hindsight, she saw it differently. Her words resonated because they were restrained. They left space for complexity. She did not rewrite history. She reframed it through self-awareness. Speaking for her was not about exposing someone else. It was about stepping back into her own narrative. The power of her confession lay in its calm. Truth does not always need volume to be heard. What her words touched. Her reflections struck a nerve far beyond celebrity culture. Many recognized themselves in her restraint, her patience, her quiet exhaustion. Women especially heard something familiar, the cost of loving without limits. She articulated what often remains unspoken, the moment you realize you have confused devotion with disappearance. Her words did not instruct, they validated. She did not present herself as an example, but as a witness. That humility gave her voice weight. The public response was not scandal, but empathy. People weren't shocked by what she revealed, but by how gently she revealed it. In a world that rewards extremes, her moderation felt radical. She reminded listeners that pain does not need spectacle to be real, that healing does not require resentment. Her story was not about a relationship ending. It was about a self returning. And that return, quiet as it was, felt revolutionary to those who had learned to stay silent at their own expense. A life reclaimed slowly. Today, Vanessa lives deliberately smaller. She chooses projects that feel aligned, spaces that feel safe, people who listen. Her creativity continues, but without urgency. She no longer owes the world an image. Mornings are simple. Work is intentional. Silence exists, but it no longer hides her. It supports her. She has learned that freedom is not loud. It is light. She does not deny the past. She carries it without letting it lead. The loneliness she once endured has softened into solitude, a chosen state rather than an imposed one. Healing for her is not about forgetting. It is about integration. She stands present in her own life again. That presence is her quiet victory, not because she spoke, but because she waited until her words belonged to her. In reclaiming her voice, she did not rewrite history. She simply stepped forward fully after years of standing behind. The power of a quiet truth. Vanessa Paradis did not offer a revelation designed to shock. She offered something rarer, a truth spoken without urgency. Her story reminds us that silence is not inherently noble, nor is speech inherently brave. What matters is choice. She chose silence when it protected her. She chose speech when it freed her. That discernment is the lesson. Love can be deep and still incomplete. Endurance can be generous and still costly. Leaving can be an act of care, not failure. Her journey is not a cautionary tale, but a human one. It honors complexity without assigning villains. In the end, her voice did not rise to accuse. It rose to breathe. And sometimes, breathing after a long silence is the most radical act of all.